We are now a week and a half into Oregon's recriminalization of hard drugs and Multnomah County's system of deflection. That's the program designed to help people found with drugs avoid jail and get treatment. So far, the numbers are small. According to the county, as of Tuesday, there have been 21 dispatches for deflection and 15 people accepted into deflection. The 6 who were not deflected may not have simply rejected the option. The county tells us they could have been arrested after hours or had their charges dismissed in court, meaning they did not need deflection. It's been an interesting start to the program, especially since the deflection center is not ready and won't open until sometime next month at the earliest. We decided to check in to see what the Portland police think about this deflection program, since they are literally on the front lines of it. Aaron Schmautz is president of the Portland Police Union, and he said without that deflection center, a place where officers can take people found with drugs, little has changed.
The biggest issue for law enforcement at this point is just understanding our role. This whole mobile deflection thing doesn't provide, sea change. And that's the real issue, is that law enforcement, the biggest thing we get calls about is, hey, this person is in my doorstep. Hey, this person is, in public doing things they're not supposed to be doing. And so a big part of this deflection center was to be able to move people. So the mobile thing actually doesn't really answer the biggest question that we've had.
That mobile thing he's talking about is the county's process of sending outreach workers out to talk to people found with drugs on the street. They will offer that person a chance at deflection and, in theory, get them into shelter and treatment. In reality, it's often not working that way. First, the outreach teams are only available from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And even when the team is available, they sometimes cannot get the person into treatment right away. We saw that happen last week. In this case, as we watched, police waited 20 minutes for the outreach team. Then the team tried for 30 minutes to find a program the person could start right away because he was ready. But in the end, they could only give him some phone numbers to call. Then everybody just went on their way.
And this is where this conversation has been so frustrating for me is, we forget about the caller. The caller is the person, we are in a service industry, and certainly we're serving everyone. We're serving the people who call, we're serving the people who stand there and watch, we're serving the person who we're being called about. But it's like, if you're in a customer service industry and the person is calling and asking for help, and you see the police show up, a bunch of tax dollars, do some stuff, they leave, some other tax dollars are being spent on some deflection stuff, they show up, they leave. I think pretty quick you're looking at your pocketbook and wondering what you just paid for. And that, for many people, I think is very frustrating.
Now, because we try not to just dwell on problems on this show, we also want to showcase any solutions to the many issues in our community. So I asked Mr. Schmautz what he thinks needs to be done.
Well, so 100% we need to be focused on ramping up available treatment beds, and we need to be focusing on people who are ready for treatment. There should be 0 vacancies for willing participants in treatment. I think that's a big piece of it. Another big piece of it is partnership. For a long time our system has focused on a balance between community-based organizations, nonprofits, and spending a lot of tax dollars on those, and law enforcement as some sort of vector, but there's no necessitated or required cooperation between the two. I would love to see legislation that directs our government to function well together. If we're spending tax dollars on nonprofits, there needs to be some kind of North Star that we're working towards. I think we need to have a focus on sobriety. I think we need to have real kind of deep dive conversations about what we're trying to accomplish. And maybe that sounds ethereal, but we don't, in the absence of a goal, your mission drifts. So law enforcement's role in all of this will always just be making our streets safe. We're not well situated to be a social service provider. We might be a social service assistant, but you hear every day people talk about people suffering from mental health issues and addiction issues. We need access through partnership, and that needs to be mandated to the people who are accepting the money.
And as far as the coordination with the government and the various pieces, I wonder if that's something that you saw when you went to Portugal.
Yeah, that was the one big takeaway, right? Is that their whole of government approach, it's all run through one government agency, and all things, it's called PsyCAD, everything flows through it. The police work in deep partnership. But I guess the biggest thing, even is sort of an aside. You look at Portland Street Response. So many people who have active voices in our community don't want Portland Street Response to work with law enforcement at all. And this is a very good example of where, again, they're all city employees. We need to all be working towards the same goal. And when we have kind of weirdly adversarial relationships with different services, it fractures the system. In Portugal, they don't do that because they're all like, well, we're just trying to solve the same problems. And so here, I would just like to remind people, when you hear the hyperbolic conversations around what law enforcement does, we do it because we're asked to. And so help us be better by partnering with us.
And just a reminder, Portugal, the first nation in the world to decriminalize drugs. So Schmautz wants to take a look at how that's going. All right, so a long ways to go to make the drug deflection system work in Multnomah County. If you're frustrated, maybe it helps to know that the police are frustrated too. Keep it right here. We'll be back right after this.